deployment process is a stressful process. It involves many different agencies. We all work hand in hand together to make the deployment process as smooth as possible. Imagine you're sitting there in the airport, BWI or Norfolk, where you fly out of to go to Iraq or Afghanistan. And you're sitting there thinking to yourself, what you're probably thinking is, I won't see my friends or my family for the next 6+ months. The last thing on your mind is probably going to be, did I remember my gas mask, or did I remember to do this training, or did I remember this and that I need for my deployment? Basically, that's the unit deployment manager's job, to make sure that individual is taken care of prior to that deployment, while they're deployed, and take care of them when they come back. That's my job as a unit deployment manager. And basically, what I'm going to talk to you about today is the process, the unit deployment manager's process from pre-deployment, sending the member out, deployment while they're deployed, and also redeployment when the member comes back. There's many jobs that entail us to do to take care of the member while they're deployed. Now I've told you my plan and what I plan on speaking to you about, I'm going to get into the pre-deployment process. Let me first begin by telling you about pre-deployment. Basically, the Air Force Personnel Center sends down a tasking saying they need this person or this many people for a deployment to Afghanistan, Iraq, IED, Kuwait, what have you. Basically, we get that tasking, and the unit deployment manager looks at that tasking and says, okay, we need a person to put in this tasking. So we go in and we look who's cleared basically to deploy. They don't have medical profiles. They're not restricted in any way as far as security clearances goes. They're trained, up to date. They can shoot. And basically, once we find an individual qualified for the deployment, we assign them to that deployment. Once we pick that person, we bring that person in, or get with their supervisor and let them know, hey, you're going to be deploying in a couple months. And then that's when all the training begins. We send them to pre-deployment training, maybe combat skills training. There's a bunch of online training that they need to complete, and as well, we give them briefings. We let them know that we're here, we'll take care of your family members, and we let them know all of the opportunities out there that is available for them. Once a member has completed all their training and they're good to go, we basically schedule a final out processing with them, and that's their last chance to make sure they're good to go before they get into the area of operation, and make sure there's no discrepancies when they get there, and they feel confident and trained and ready to do their mission. That was a little bit about the pre-deployment process, and I'll get into the deployment process. While the member is deployed, even though our main focus is getting the people out there, the unit deployment manager still has a job to do for that member that is deployed, such as reach back issues. So once they're deployed, there's minimum available accessories, equipment, and so forth out there in the area of operations. So basically, if a member forgets their cold weather gear or wet weather gear, or a piece of equipment, or some type of training that they need while they're down range, they can get back with us and we can send them that equipment or gear, cold weather gear, whatever it is they need, and keep in contact with them and keep them whatever it is that they require down there. We get their email addresses, we take care of their families, if they need their grass cut, or someone to drive their car, check their mail, anything of that matter, that we will take care of them. We'll make sure that they don't have anything to worry about while they're deployed, so that they can focus on the mission at hand while they're deployed. Okay, that's pretty much what we do while the member's deployed when you're the deployment manager. Now I'll get into redeployment, when the member's coming back, on their way back, or they're coming back. When they come back, first thing they do is they check in with us, and we give them a checklist that they have to accomplish, a post-deployment checklist. And basically it's screening, medical screening, make sure there's no PTSD or any major concerns medically. They go and see Airmen and Family Readiness Center to, especially if they're married or have children, they've been separated a long time. It takes a lot to get back to normal ways of life once they get rejoined. Also, before they start their R&R, which is usually 2-3 weeks of leave, and they have about 3 to 5 days where they got to go and get all this business taken care of, turn in their equipment, get back with their supervisor, find out their schedule, and basically readjust them back into the normal way of life from being employed. So it's kind of inching their way. They're not just bang, go back to your R&R, and that's usually how a lot of trouble happens and people start getting stupid. But that's pretty much it. I talked about the pre-deployment process, the deployment process, and the redeployment process. It's always good to see our deployers come back home safely. That's one of our biggest concerns. Also, we strive to keep the process as smooth as possible. But we have to be thorough because it's serious responsibility. That's my speech, and